How's it going today, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be how to wheelie a dirt bike. I've been really wanting to do this video since my how to wheelie a snowmobile video did really well. So yeah, I've been really excited to get this one done with. But yeah, let's get to the video you guys came here for. So let's get to it. Alrighty, she's a little windy out, but I'm sure we can manage. So my first tip is stretch out. That is one of my biggest tips. Basically, the way I like to look at it is take a rusty pair of pliers and try to move them really quick. They don't move, right? That's just like your joints, all your fingers, everything, your feet, your ankles, just everything, right? So basically spray that with WD-40, stretching, right? And that will make it so you can move those pliers a lot easier and a lot faster, just like your joints. So that's my number one tip. Doesn't matter if you're 10 years old just learning how to wheelie, 6 years old learning how to wheelie, 40 years old. Especially when you're 40 years old, you definitely need to stretch, that's for sure. But that is my number one tip for that. Second tip, I would like to talk about body positioning. So scooching your butt as far as you can back on the seat without locking your arms is basically what you're going to want to do. You don't want to lock your arms just in case you come down too hard in your locked arms. That's going to just jar the shite out of your elbows, and you don't want to do that, right? So scooching your butt as far as you can back, the more to the level with the rear wheel you can get, the better. Having that body position, like if you're all the way up here, I'll show you. This is a first gear wheelie when I'm all the way up. I just spun, right? Like it's just not gonna do anything, right? So you want to scooch all the way back, pretty much as far as you can go back, like I said, without locking your arms, and then start out real slow. And there's a little bit of chase to that because I didn't want to go to balance point because I don't have the greatest tire, but that's another tip I'm going to get to. Tip number 3 is start on grass, learn on grass. It is super forgiving. Like it can hurt. I've tore both my meniscuses on grass, so don't take it too lightly. You can hurt yourself on grass, but it is a lot more forgiving, obviously. I think that should be obviously without being said. So terrain that you're doing it on is huge. I'm at the point where I practice on pavement. I practice over there in that lot, but that's just because I trust my rear brake control and I trust where I'm at. But when you're just learning wheelies, if you do it on a little bit of an incline, that's even better. I saw that on a video. That's a really good tip. If you're on a little bit of an incline, your tipping point kind of comes back a little bit, so you don't, or forward a little bit, so you don't have to be as far back, and then that kind of helps you get a little bit more comfortable with it. So if you can get a really nice, smooth, grassy incline upwards, not like crazy, but just enough where it's a little bit, that is ultimately the best. And then you can work your way to harder ground like this, and then eventually to pavement. But yeah, so that is, I think, number 3. Number 4 is rear brake control, and this is probably and arguably one of the most important parts to doing proper wheelies and balance point wheelies, is having rear brake control. Always covering your rear brake. I cover all of the levers, actually. I cover the front, or sorry, the clutch there. Sorry, I'm still in gear. I cover the clutch with my one pointer finger. I cover the brake with my other pointer finger, and then I always float over my rear with my foot as well. But once you learn that rear brake control, that is, I had a problem with that. I used to loop out a lot, and I just was finally like, okay, I need to learn rear brake control. So one of the biggest things you can do for that, I'm going to go over to pavement just for example's sake, and it's a lot easier for me now. And my tire's not the greatest, but always do this on grass. If you have a good tire, you should be able to do this on grass, no problem. So what I like to do, or what I used to do just to get really used to my rear brake, is you always float your rear brake. I like to put my heel on the foot peg and then obviously have good control. I don't like to wear motocross boots. I feel like you just don't have any movement in your foot whatsoever. So I actually wear these Alpine Star shoes, and I just don't tie them crazy tight, obviously, so they're gonna fly off, but just loose enough where I still have movement. As you can see, I can move my ankle just around pretty good. I'm not jumping from 40 feet in the air, so you can still blow out an ankle pretty easy, but it's nowhere near as bad as what like actual motocross riders are going to be doing. So if you're doing stunt riding, the motocross boots are definitely a little bit of an overkill if you're not going to be jumping, all that fun stuff. which I do like to do. So I do have a set of motocross boots for when I do take this thing to the track or whatever it may be, which it has been a while. But yeah, so let's get back to the rear brake control. So scoot your butt all the way back as far as you can go. Make sure you're in the right gear. And then, you know, I like to hit the rear, make sure it's working good as you're just kind of going like this. And then we'll whip around here so I have a full stretch. Alrighty, so what I used to like to do is crack it up, hit the brake, crack it up, hit the brake, and just get really comfortable with doing something while catwalking, right? Because you kind of get tunnel vision on doing the wheelie, and you kind of just focus only on the wheelie. So you kind of want to get used to doing something else while also wheeling, and then that helps. That goes a long way. So make sure you're in the right gear, crack it up, make sure you're hovering that brake, and hit it. You see how hard that came down? That's just because I slammed my rear brake. Boom, there we go. Do that just over and over and over again. Like, I'm borderline skidding my rear tire there. So like, you don't want to quite go that hard. I'm obviously over exaggerating the crap out of it, but you want to get comfortable with hitting that rear brake while in the wheelie. And then obviously you can get a little farther and farther and farther and farther with it, and then you're at balance point, right? Because I don't know if I have to explain this for how to wheelie. If you don't know that, you should probably look into what balance point is a little bit more. But essentially you want to be at 12 o'clock. Hitting your rear brake stops you from going over backwards. Hitting your gas stops your tire from going and hitting the ground. If you are at not at 12 o'clock, you're gonna just be under load the whole entire time. You're gonna just keep gaining speed and speed and speed and speed and speed, and then you're eventually gonna run out of wheelie, and you're gonna have to set it down. That's a power wheelie. That's chasing a wheelie. That's what you want to try to get away from. That's why practicing slow wheelies, there's a lot less risk to it. There's a lot more balance to it, and then when you do, you know, get up to faster wheelies, you can do it a lot better and a lot safer because you are more comfortable with a wheelie, right? Okay, I just had to turn away from the wind. I don't know how bad it is for the mic, but yeah, you want to get away from those. So that's what overall the goal is to get to, is a balance point wheelie. So then once you learn rear brake control, you can just start pushing it farther and farther and farther. So start out nice and slow. There's a little tiny chase to that. Like, I'm still kind of pushing to like balance point, but I'm getting pretty damn good with the feel of it, that's for sure. As you guys could see, I could like nice and hold it at a nice spot, right? So then my next tip is, overall you're gonna have to loop it out in order to know your limit of how far back your bike can go. I'm not saying you have to loop out 100 times, destroy yourself in 5th gear. I'm talking about some nice slow speed loop outs, some nice controlled loop outs, just to know the limits of what your bike can do and how far it can go back. If you don't know, you don't know, right? It's simple as that. So I'll show you guys how harmless looping out is when you're just practicing these slow wheelies. Okay, I'm gonna stand up, show you guys. It's really ain't nothing. Look at that, just looped out. Did I hurt nothing? Nope, went right to my feet. Do I know the limit of my bike? Yep. I'm not saying go get yourself hurt by any means. I'm not condoning that. Do I want you guys to somewhat push the limit of your bike? Yeah, you're gonna have to, right? In order to progress, you're gonna have to push the limit of your bike a little bit. That's just the way it goes, right? So looping out isn't as scary as it seems, especially when you're going in slow speeds. Like, I just held a 450 up from falling crazy heavy, right? So like, it's not as detrimental as one would think, as long as you're not going crazy fast. Simple as that. Alrighty, and then once you guys start getting comfortable with balance point, you're able to get her back real nice and far, and then you can kind of start throwing some stuff into her, just like this. Scoot your way back, hover your rear brake, start nice and slow. And then the last thing I'll throw in, just for you guys that may not be able to get it up with just the raw power of your bike, is clutch dumping. I will throw that in just a super quick. Essentially, you just want to rev to the right spot, dump the clutch, and that should pop the bike up. essentially that. I don't like to do it because a 450 race bike is just, oh my god, it's just so erratic in first gear to do that. It's just stupid. It's a little bit little too erratic for my liking. This thing can pop up in such a slow speed and just boop right to 12 o'clock, so I don't necessarily need to do that. So but that's pretty much it. Is that's how you clutch pop, is you rev it up, you hold your clutch in, you rev it up and pop it. Simple as that. It's really not hard. I do have to do it on my F4i. I don't have to do it on my 450. But yeah, alrighty, that's all I got for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I hope it helps you guys get to doing some really good wheelies. But yeah, don't forget to drop a comment if you want part 2. Don't forget to drop a sub and a like as well. I've been really grinding out videos for you guys. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and see you later.